Hello, here we are again, coming to you from Broadcast Team Alpha on 44 different platforms around the world. And my name is Aage, and my co-host could not be here. This show came up too quick. She had a previous engagement, so gosh, she couldn't make it. She'll be back. And my name is Aage, like I said, and we are also transmitting over Conscious Awakening Network. You got to go have a look at that, because there's an awful lot of good stuff over there. There is close to 50 different shows, and they talk about all the stuff that both you and me need to know about. I spent some extensive time over there, and I enjoyed every second of it, so I think you will too. And then I also want to let you know how you can get in touch with me and Nori. We are at broadcastteamalpha.com. Broadcastteamalpha.com. Go ahead and get onto the contact feature and send us an email. We'll get the email and we'll get back to you and see what we can do for you. And we also created a spiritual think tank. We do incredible things over there. When we do, it seems like we're creating out of seemingly nothing sometimes, because things happen that cannot be explained by Newtonian physics, or shouldn't happen. Like abundance in certain areas, when an influx of money that comes from absolutely nowhere, yeah, that can actually happen. Or spontaneous healing. We've helped people on their deathbed to recover totally back to perfectly normal in about 24 hours. So yeah, things happen that shouldn't, but it does. So get in touch with us if you think you want to go and have a look and be part of something that is bigger than yourself. Send us an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com. themastermindconnection@gmail.com, or get a hold of me or Nori and we'll funnel you so you can get to participate. And yes, I have a longtime friend on the show today. She is incredible. She is a radio talk show host that have millions of listeners. And tonight, we are going to talk about the simulation, the matrix, high strangeness out there. Some ways, everything is strange. And she is a Canadian, a Canuck, I suppose. And she is a crystal Reiki healer, a medical intuitive, and a spiritual teacher. She is, the internet radio talk show host that is on the internet, but I think also there are other regular radio stations that pick that up. So it's not just internet; it goes on the radio, regular radio stations too. Now her shows are called The Angel Rock. That is on Mondays from 6 to 8 East Coast time in the evening. And she's also co-host on another show that is called Beneath the Hollow Moon. That goes out on Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. East Coast time. And that is all on United Public Radio Network, or UPRN, as it is also called. And it is all live streamed on her YouTube channel by her name, and also by The Angel Rock. So, in her business page, if you, by the time this show, you probably want to get a hold of her. So go to Facebook on her business page, facebook.com/The Angel Rock. And I think it'll also find her if you put her name in the search. So it could probably be all right. And now I've been talking way too much. We want to hear from our wonderful guests. So welcome to the show, Lorilei.
Thank you, Augie. And yes, my name is Lorilei Potvin. And I know it's long, but I'll just add a little bit. I am on. We have multiple hosts streaming daily, 7 days a week. When we're not live, the archive server kicks in. And it's called UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. Or the easiest way to find us, our website's getting revamped at the moment, but you can still go there. It's www.u as an umbrella, P as in Peter, R as in Richard, N as in Norman. So uprntalkradio.com or any social media platforms pretty well. LinkedIn. Sometimes I stream to TikTok, Instagram, all over the place. And thank you for having me.
Good. Yeah, this is going to be fun. We've known each other for a long time, and
A
we have,
long time.
yeah,
Mhm.
I've been guest on your show, you've been guest on ours, and we've done a lot of really, really deep and interesting
Mhm.
discussions.
You're coming on the Angel Rock. We just checked. I believe it's October the 6th or 7th, and I can't wait for it. We got 2 hours, and every time I have you on, everybody loves you, and we never know what we're going to talk about, and that's the fun of it. As you said
Yeah,
to me, we've never met a microphone that we don't love, right? Or that doesn't love us.
yeah. Mention that date again when I'm going to be on your show over there.
I'm going to double check, guys, just so you can see. There's always a replay. If you can't watch live, there's always a replay either on our network YouTube channel, same name, UFO Paranormal. If you look that up, and United Public Radio Network, or my YouTube is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. If you look up my name, it'll come up.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you are coming on Monday, October the 6th. It'll be live from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, if you're somewhere in the world where we have people, the network does broadcast every country in the world. So we have a global audience, but sometimes it's like 3 o'clock in the morning somewhere.
Yeah,
So you can always find a recording right
yeah,
away after the show video. It takes about a week for Joe Montaldo, who's the owner of the network,
yeah.
to upload it to the server. But we're on every. I have found us on the most obscure apps, and sometimes, or not sometimes, always on the big platforms like Spotify, iTunes, you name it, right? Hmm.
Yeah, and that was on the let me see, that was on the 6th of October. Yes, that's
Yes,
what I,
yes.
okay, yeah, then we're gonna unveil the secrets of the world again, huh?
Right. Yeah. Yes.
All right, okay, sounds good. Now, we shows usually take on a life of their own, but we got to
Totally.
start out somewhere. What if we talk about what is it that is around us? I know I was listening to Greg Braden not long ago, and he's a physicist, and he
Mhm.
says that a lot of other physicists using the principles of quantum mechanics
Yep.
and take all of the aspects of our reality, put it on the blackboard, and they find out that there is a 93% chance that we live in a simulation, somebody's simulation. How do you feel about that?
I agree 100%. And the operative word is somebody, which I will get back to. We were talking a little bit about this before we started the show. And I believe we are in a simulation. So basically, and I'll try and simplify this, if everything is energy, which I believe it is, and people don't recognize the power of, and I don't say it from an egotistical perspective, but the power of your thoughts, your words, and your intentions. Never mind where we come from. If you want to call it God, you want to call it Buddha, you want to call it the universe, you can call it source, but say we do, right? And I always use this analogy if I'm talking about it. And I don't mean to be disrespectful if anybody hears it and says, well, why would you say this, what I'm about to say? But hopefully it'll make it clear. say we're going to say it's source that we come from. And source was made out of this big mountain of clay. And source said, I'm going to create the universe. So we get to our planet. And so source takes a bit of the clay that it's made of and starts creating everything we have on this planet. So are we all separate? Not really, because we all came from source, from that clay, if
Yeah.
you will. But source is also a creator, and that's what people do not. We've never been taught. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm being judgmental here, but we've never been taught to understand that everything you see on this planet has either been created by somebody, thought up by somebody, possibly channeled by somebody. But also, with that being said, our power, the power of our words, thoughts, and emotions are so incredible.
Yeah.
And that's what shapes our reality, as well as that like energy attracts like energy on this planet. But we also have, like you said, someone created this simulation. I believe we have, I call them the puppet masters, sometimes the families, and they may even be off world. I am open to that possibility. But the thing is, they're not all thinking love and light, but I do believe they understand how this all works in the simulation. So we have the power within each and every one of us to create our own simulation or reality. And depending on, if you will, the energy or radio waves we are transmitting, we don't think about it, right? That's what we attract to ourselves.
Yeah.
It all comes into us. But the little piece that we've never been taught is we can also, by changing the radio station, our radio waves we put out, create any reality we want to happen, as long as we don't fall into the space of fear. Because whoever created the simulation knows that fear keeps us all in a space where we really can't think clearly when we are in a state of fear.
Yeah.
Makes sense at all? I know it's a long explanation, but
Yeah, I am totally on board with that because if you look a little deeper around you, you see it everywhere. Fear controls, fear creates
mm-hmm.
as a secondary energy behind the universal energy. The
Yes,
universal energy gives us the vibration. If we want to use it, we can, and most of the time we do.
yeah.
And that is where it is up to create our reality within the greater reality. So, but I'm also wondering um, who created the simulation or what created the simulation?
Oh boy, that's opening a can of worms. And then again, with no disrespect, I always say to people when you hear my shows or anything else, take what resonates and leave the rest, right? Hopefully, this may resonate. I think it depends on your belief systems because some people, with no judgment, they really subscribe to the religious dogma that's out there, right? Rather than it maybe being a metaphor for what really happened. And I always say, whatever road or vehicle you take to get you to a space of more love and more the actions, the thoughts, the words that somebody does, to a place of, like I said, more love, as well as holding the intention of doing something for somebody's highest good or your own, right? But when it comes to the creator here, that's a big can of worms. So again, religion, if you believe in that, you believe in Adam and Eve. There's a theory out there, and you've all heard it probably, the Anunnaki coming here in Enki and I forget what the other one, Enlil, I think his name is, and coming here and creating man. Um,
Yeah.
I tend to subscribe to, I believe it probably is off world, if you will. I almost feel like we're an experiment because I'm also a psychic medium. And I believe when I connect to what I would collectively call spirit, and I do believe I connect with off world beings as well. I've had some crazy experiences already over the years. Um, I keep hearing that human beings are a young race. And the other thing is that our propensity for violence confounds most older races, including the depth and breadth of emotion that we have been blessed with as being human beings.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say who created this simulation, but if I feel into it, it almost feels like an experiment, like to kind of watch the humans on Earth flounder around. And they always say Earth is one of the hardest places to come to if you subscribe to the fact that I believe we've had many lives, past lives, right? But you come in these dense, heavy, fragile bodies. You come in, most of us, with spiritual amnesia, I call it. You don't remember the past lives. You don't remember all of these things you've experienced before.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like a TV show, like they're all watching, if you will, the
Mhm.
Truman Show to see what we're doing. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think?
I asked somebody else that same question, and he
Mhm.
said, well, somebody is sitting out there creating the simulation, and they're sitting back there laughing their butts off at what we're
Yes,
doing.
yes, I think they
Because
are.
some of the stuff that we do is so boozy out of whack that we just can't even
Yeah.
explain it ourselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
But now the simulation, let me back up. Our We are told that there are 12 levels of existence all the way
Yeah.
up the scale.
Hmm.
Well, okay, how far up the scale does the simulation go? When I had a download of several years back,
I remember. Yeah, you've
it,
talked about that. Yep.
it was explained to me that our created reality lasts from the third dimensional, where length, width, and height.
Yeah.
And then the fourth dimension, when you have something that you can move within that box, then the fourth dimension and into the lower fifth dimensions. Beyond there, it is all spiritual knowledge,
Hmm.
which can be synonymized by source.
Yeah. I agree
So,
100%.
so because to explain that, as an astral traveler, when you get out of the body, you could run into something that people call ghosts.
Oh, I'm well versed in that world.
Yeah,
Never went looking for it. It found me, and you know that, are you?
some of them are out there and they have no clue what's going on, so they are in the simulation also.
Hmm.
And that the lower fifth dimensional existence. But
Hmm.
up higher in the fifth, then all that goes away and become lit up and good things. But I don't think the simulation goes all the way up. Somebody up there is creating the simulation down here.
Hmm. I
I,
agree.
I love to find out who that is. I
I always say we're going to find out all the answers when we go back home ourselves. Because I've studied, I'm also a nurse. I'm not able to work physically with a back injury, but use it every day. And I have studied, I believe I've had a near death experience as a toddler, but I've really studied near death experiences for over 40 years professionally and personally. And people can't be wrong. Like there's hundreds upon thousands of people
yeah,
coming back, sharing their experiences. And then you'll get somebody that has heard of NDEs, as they're called, short form, as you know, saying, well, you just go through the tunnel of light. That's all it is. Well, I don't believe that, because I have seen most people that come back, first of all, they usually come back with a gift unlocked, something they weren't able to do before they had the NDE. Second of all, if you really dig into this, most people's experiences are not the same. They're
yeah.
very, very different. And again, why is that? Is that part of the simulation as we journey, as I call it, back home? And then you get into ghosts. And I agree with you, where do they come from? And you and I have talked about this on other shows. There's not only just the third dimension, there are lower astral planes,
Yeah.
like tracks, like energy. Something has to go, like with a match. That's kind of why we can go into the lower 5D. We exist in the 3D. 4D, we do some work on ourselves. We work on inner healing, being mindful, changing our mindset, kind of like what you're doing with the mastermind. And look at the incredible things you guys are witnessing and seeing
Yeah.
just by gathering a group of like-minded individuals, mixing in love. I believe that's a powerful emotion. I'm not talking about romantic love, but love, mindset, and focusing your energy. And look at what's happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And now you mentioned something, you mentioned a word earlier, and that was belief.
Very.
Belief, yeah, belief. The
Mhm.
strong belief is a very powerful force in creating our reality,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to law of attraction. If we have a belief contrary to what we ask for, forget it.
Yep. Mhm.
So I think even though we may be sitting here looking at each other thinking, yeah, we're in the same timeline, we're in the same reality, but we may have different beliefs on something. In our reality, that may even reflect itself in the physical reality. So your physical reality might be slightly different than mine.
Absolutely. Think about car accidents. And again, that sounds like a morbid topic, but when you dig into it, even some of the research has shown, say you've had 20 people witness the same car accident.
Mm.
Start digging into the research. Some people say it was a red car, some people say it was a white car, some people said this happened or that happened or this happened. Very rarely do you get the same identical story from 20 individuals being interviewed
Yeah,
individually. Now, why is that? Because people have their own experiences within the simulation, even though you're in the same timeline, if you will. Because I believe also we can switch timelines. I've had so many conversations with you about the coronavirus visor and time, and but trying to wrap your mind around all this stuff.
yeah. And we're thinking of it also. We everything is connected.
Yes.
We are connected.
Hmm.
So since we are, and there's repeatable scientific experiments that prove that too. And
Hmm.
think of Emoto. You mentioned Emoto, the Chinese scientist that did the water experiments.
Yes, that before we went live, I mentioned him. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, think of that. He had, well, there's another experiment next was kind of using the same principle.
Yes.
They had two plants.
Hmm.
One of the plant sitting next to each other. One of the plant, you went up to it and said, "I love you. You're wonderful. I want to help you. You are so beautiful." And the other one, they said, "You piece of chocolate. I hate you. Go away, die."
Yep.
You tell the other one. The
Hmm.
other one crumbled up and died.
And the
But
one with the
the first
positivity,
one was thriving.
flourishing, flourishing. Hmm.
Yeah. So that tells us the mind can create in the physical.
So can we? I'm going to grab something here quickly. You call it my stupid pet trick, but I do this sometimes when I do shows on my own of my own. Okay, so I'm going to try and not move my elbow. Okay, this is just a pendulum. It's a crystal.
Hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, hang on, I got to get all the kinks out of my wrist. I'm going to tell you what it's going to do. So I'm going to focus it. It's going to swing back and forth. I'm going to ask it to stop. Now I'm going to ask it to turn in circles. Now I'm going to ask it to stop. Now, I've had people on some shows say to me, "Oh my God, she's a witch, blah, blah." No, this is when we stop, we breathe, if you can be grounded, and we focus on energy. Focus on this. This isn't a magic crystal. I could do it with a necklace. I could do it with anything. And so can each and every one of us. That's why I think we're in a simulation, right? We come here for different reasons, I believe. I think we have some lessons to learn, or maybe we're a part of other people we interact with to be part of their lessons. But once we start to go a little deeper, that's why I love the show that you and Nori do, and I try to do this with my show, is is present people with different mindsets or show you that you are unlimited, how
Yeah.
powerful you are, and not, again, I say it again, not egotistically, but how powerful our thoughts, our words, our emotions. I forget to breathe when I'm doing that, when I'm focusing. And I try to keep if I could do it this way with my elbow up here, I wouldn't be moving, but I was trying to keep my arm as straight as possible. It's just focusing And people go, well, how do you do it? Picture it in your mind, what you want it to do. That's how, so it's kind of like I just got this from spirit. The simulation, once you understand what the game is, if you will, and then you start to play with the rules, not harming anybody else, and you start to practice and you start to focus, it the possibilities are unlimited. Again, I go back to the mastermind that you do, you and Nori, Augie. Some people who are terminally ill are
Yeah.
healed. We have been able to turn storms. I haven't been in a long time, but I've been there. We can turn storms with a
Yeah.
collective. So many things, but we've never been taught this to understand it. So even though we may be in a simulation and we're here, why not learn how to make the simulation work for you and the
Yeah,
people?
you mentioned that storm. That was probably about 4 years ago or so. That
Mhm.
there was a hurricane coming
Yep,
straight towards shore on the
yep,
east coast, right where
yep.
Nori was. And
Hmm.
we wrapped our mind around the hurricane, and we told him, go out to sea. And by
And
golly, within
yeah.
hours, they headed straight out to sea.
Now you're going to get naysayers that are going to say that's
Yeah,
just coincidence, but when you really stop and look at it,
yeah,
when do you draw the line when it happens with more and more frequency? Science and research is starting to catch up, and it's not a coincidence.
that's right.
I just showed you this isn't a coincidence. That's something small I
Yeah.
use. So imagine a collective like what you guys did. And I remember, I think I was part of that. I remember that. And I've done it with another friend that's in Mexico where they get a lot of storms.
Hmm.
And we've got a little group and we focus on visualizing turning the storm. With one proviso I'd like to add, though, and this is a belief I have, doesn't have to be anybody else's. Say the storm didn't turn. You
Yeah,
had a big enough collective, it did not turn. And it rarely does not do when you've got a group focusing, but say it didn't. Maybe that storm had to happen for a reason. And I think we have to be open to that possibility,
yeah,
right? We may
yeah,
not know what the reason is,
yeah.
right? Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. And you show us the pendulum. I have one too. Uh,
Oh, I like yours. We're
yeah,
going to play with pendulums.
yeah. Nori made with this. Nori
Oh,
made this one for me. I don't know, about 4 or 5 years ago.
it's
And
beautiful.
once in a while, I take it with me to the grocery store. And when I buy apples, I just stand there and test them out. Oh no, yeah, this one has
You
got
can use
stuff
your
on it. So I'll leave.
body. You can use your body as a pendulum, though.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I tell you, I look goofy and people look at me
Yeah.
like, oh, look at that guy.
What a whack job. If
Yeah,
they only knew.
but I would say to the listeners, get yourself a pendulum and start practicing. You're going to find out that it will work for you
Mhm.
because the mind matter interconnection is always there. All you have to do is to train it a little bit and activate it.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's,
And the thing people don't, so for me with the pendulum,
yeah.
and I have difficulty with the fact that if I have a very vested interest in whatever I may be using a pendulum with, because I can affect it. Sometimes I don't rely on that. I do use pendulums and crystal Reiki because I don't have a vested interest except for hopefully you're going to be feeling better after the
Hmm.
session. So I use it for that or things like it. But that's the whole point of this. We're in the simulation. We don't know who's created it. And we get a lot of people with no judgment again who don't like what's going on and they'll say, "Well, what can you do? There's just me." There's never just you, like you pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
And even with my analogy about the clay coming from source, creating all this, we're connected. We are all, that's why the power of prayer works too, right? Never mind you're bringing in, I think, a higher power, but we're putting and focusing that intention on seeing or helping whoever the individual may be. But we've never been taught these things, you
That's
know.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And also, we were talking about or asking who created the simulation. What it appeared to me is that it's not a who, it's a what.
Oh,
There's
now I'm all ears.
an
Okay.
in, an intelligence that has creative capability that created this. And for us, basically to experiment, learn and grow and see what we can make out of it.
Mhm. I
And
call,
we have failed several times in previous existence because there's been a reset every so often.
I
So,
agree with that. Mhm.
yeah, so I think we're going to do okay this time.
Let's hope so, because well, can hold that intention in our mind for it
Yeah.
to be so. And the thing is, I agree with you that I've really been talking about this a lot, not so much on air, but with certain groups of people I know like-minded. And I don't want to make that sound for anybody listening that like-minded people. Anybody can be like-minded people. So I don't want to make it sound like Augie and I are up on this pedestal
No.
and everybody's around us. We are all equal. We can all be a part of that. And
Yeah.
though we never know who created it, because human beings, and I said this last night, human beings think they know better than Mother Nature or
Yeah.
Gaia. They think they know better. But for example, I always use in Australia the cane toads.
Yeah.
The powers that be thought they were going to fix one little problem and created an enormous, really much worse problem without thinking it all through.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
And okay, I'll tell you what, we're down at the bottom of the hour here. So
Are we
for
already?
for those of you that joined us late, we're talking with Lorilei Potvin. She is a radio talk show host talking to millions of people twice a week
Mhm.
or more, depends on where and what she's
Sometimes
doing.
4 times a week and more, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. And yeah, you got to go look her up and listen to all of this because we got some pearls coming in the last part of this show we're going to talk about. And you have a book there of a project that you're working on that's going to be coming out shortly. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I didn't say this to you before the show. I am working on 3 books. I'm a little delayed. My youngest son, who has severe autism, passed away very unexpectedly this past January. So I needed to take a little time off. But I have 3 books. One is going to be talking about our journey of what we experienced with my youngest son, with the proviso that hopefully it will help other people who receive this diagnosis when they do, say, for a child or themselves. The second book, and we've had shared a bit of our experience on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor. It's season 4, episode 9. My previous home, we had the most insane, crazy paranormal activity and experiences. And then the last book, and it seems I'm getting a lot more info from people about this. I may start there. It's going to be sharing the stories and the experiences, mainly of nurses, but also first responders. And I really don't like this title, but it's a wonderful position, death doulas. And what it is sharing the miraculous, unexplainable stories that we witness at the bedside when somebody transitions here from Earth to what I call going back home.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I am working on that will come out before the book, so hopefully sometime this fall, it's a course I'm working on with a very close friend of mine in Atlanta, Leanne Clark. And we just picked the name finally. We were working on it forever, the name. And the course is called The Nature of the Journey, Functional Guides of Spirituality. So it's really for anybody. And we are working on how you can better connect with the intuitive gifts that you have, and energy, anything you can think of. It's going to be a one time a week, multi-week course. We were hoping to build a beautiful community from there. So look for that in the fall. Hopefully that will be coming out soon, and I'll be putting out a lot more advertising as we get closer.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, I also know that we talked a little bit about the Matrix.
Mhm.
And the Matrix was not science fiction, that was a documentary. And I
Yeah.
think,
Yes.
yeah, I think most of us have actually come to that conclusion. And the reason that I came to it is because there is scientific evidence that it is. There is this physicist named James Gates.
Okay.
He says that when we look deep in the equations that explains the fundamental particles of the fabric of space, we find computer language. We we
Wow.
we didn't put it there. It just shows up with the only way to explain what is going on down there. So if there's computer language in the fabric of space,
Right. It's
there's
got to
got to
be here.
it's got to be a computer somewhere.
So do you think then, I see where you're going with this, I think. So do you think, like you said, it's not a matter of who, it's a matter of what? Do you think that it's like a master computer? With it, that being said, because there is an app that's been out for about 5 years called Randonautica. And in the beginning, now it's been made into a bit of a joke, but we know the law of attraction and manifestation doesn't really help the way this was happening. I'll explain it briefly. Especially it was really common with kids about 19 to early 20s, and they say, "Oh, I want to see something really scary." So it worked on the fact that it would compute coordinates from where you lived, a glitch in the matrix, or a place that had never been visited, and people were filming their experiences. But the law of attraction is, right, you usually picture it, attach a very positive emotion. You can attach a date down into the future. I know you've talked about this many times, and you release it. That's
Mm.
not how this was working. So, for example, there were three teenagers that wanted to witness or experience something terrifying. And they were brought to I think it was in San Diego, a pier, and the coordinates were under a bridge. They found a suitcase. Very sadly, it contained human remains. It was all over the news. And
Wow.
this more and more of this was happening. But where I go with this, back to what you were saying, I really did a lot of research. Where are all these coordinates for this particular app, and it still exists, Randonautica, we're going to a quantum computer in the University of Australia. And the quantum computer, nobody's really been able to explain, where are you reaching in. It makes our computers look obsolete, obviously, but they can't explain, are they going into another dimension? Where are they going to retrieve this information with quantum computers,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So is there a master computer, if you will, that's creating the computer language and everything else, the ones, the zeros, and all the computer language?
I
Is that
think
going into the quantum? Where is it all going? Where is it connecting? Those are my questions now. I've got so many.
I my understanding of that is that it's the intelligent universe that is creating a way for us to communicate with it in form of zeros and ones, computer language.
Okay.
Now, in order for that intelligent source to create something here, it needs helps. It needs help, and we are that help.
So we're the batteries, because I've seen that before too, the energy that we put out.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm not so sure that is always the fact, because there are things that has been spontaneously showing up in the physical reality that cannot be explained by Newtonian physics.
Do you have some examples for people listening, Augie?
Say again?
Do you have some examples for people listening? Because I'm interested too. So when
Well,
you,
one of my favorite ones is that we all probably seen that video that come out of the medicineless hospital in Peking, China, or Beijing right now. There were
Mhm.
about 4 or 5 masters, qigong masters, standing around a bed with a lady in it that had a
Blood,
tumorous cancer
I
about the
remember this.
size of a fist,
Hmm.
and they concentrated on that tumor, and they kept saying, "It's done, it's done." They visualized the healthy organ without the tumor, and that They did 3 minutes. We could see it on the
On
screen.
the, oh, I remember you sending me that, and oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I'd forgotten about that. That's mind blowing. You could
yeah.
see it. Yes.
It 3 minutes.
Hmm.
It shrunk to nothing. So that was, we talk about materialization. There was dematerialization. That is cannot be explained by Newtonian physics. It was the mind of these masters interacted with the universal mind that helped to rid itself of that tumor. And when they were asked afterward how they did it, there really was no answer. One of them, I think, said something like, if you have to ask, my answer will make no sense.
See, then you get people, and this had come up earlier, was thinking about what we've been talking. And again, no judgment to anybody, but people tend to say, like, for example, I'll use my experience with losing my younger son. Of
Yeah,
course, I would have chosen to have had him here forever, but he's around always. He's not stuck here, but I can connect, if you will, through the universal consciousness. He leaves signs, and it's not just me. Other people that knew and loved him are experiencing the
yeah,
same. Now, I have heard people say in a similar scenario, I hate God. Why did God not come through? Why did God not save my son? Why did God take my son from me? Right? So I could almost see where I'm going with this is, and again, it's not up to us to change people's minds, but there would be people, the way you explain that, and it makes sense, them connecting with that universal, I don't know what you want to call it, the creator will call it, right, of the simulation,
yeah,
right? Can you see where I'm going with this? There'll be people that'll say, well, why did God choose to, or source, or whatever you want to call it, heal that woman with the cancer? Why not me? But that's a
yeah,
whole different show we could talk about, right? Why
yeah.
things happen. Hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think, why did God take my son from
Hmm.
me with
Yeah, I
cancer?
don't feel that way because I know I'm going to see him again. I know he's here. We've had many talks even on my show about those experiments that the doctor had people on a scale in bed, terminal, and
Hmm.
the moment of death. What was it? 30. I was it wasn't 30. What was the weight that was left over? There was always a noticeable difference after the
Yeah,
person.
that experiment was a doctor that claimed he could prove there is a soul. I
Yes.
think it was 1901. He
Yes,
took,
it was a long time ago. Yeah.
yeah, and he took find six, I think it was six people that was close to death,
Yeah.
and he
Hmm.
put the hospital bed on industrial scales, and they measured all the food and all the urine that left, and they kept track of everything, so they knew exactly how heavy that body was.
Yep. Hmm.
Right about a few seconds to a few minutes right after they
Yeah.
died, the bed got 21 grams lighter.
That's the word I was looking for, grams. Thank you.
Yeah, and it happened for every one of them.
Hmm.
So he said, something left the body, it's got to be the soul. Well, I differ on that, because souls are entirely spiritual, has no physical weight, but the astral body has
Yes.
doesn't have
Yeah.
weight so much, but it has an affinity to um, matter. So Earth is a lot of matter, so they have a little affinity. An astral traveler will tell you that if you're in a room and you're floating and you do nothing, sit there, you slowly, very slowly would sink down towards the floor. And that goes along with what the doctor found, that the the astral vehicle left.
That makes a lot of sense. But where I was even going with this is, and again, it's about mindset and what we experience and what we learn, being open to learning. I always try to learn something new every day. But where I'm going with this is you have the astral body, but the soul. And I believe we go on forever,
Yeah,
right? that
Yeah.
person's never really gone. And I know we're going to be reunited. Otherwise, mediumship, the things I do with mediumship, there's no way I'd be able to connect with ghosts and with entities and things like that that maybe don't know that they're no longer have a physical body. Or there's a lot that I've run into through investigations, things like that. They're afraid of what may await them, thinking that they're going to be punished, right? So they don't want to leave, or could be greed, could be revenge. There's
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
things. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If let's say that you went, I have an example on that here in Tucson. There was a guy that he was in Vietnam. He was a sniper
Oh,
for the army. And I think he said he had like 19 or 20 confirmed kills, people that he was ordered to shoot them and kill them.
oh.
And he came back and he got religion, and the preacher told him, because of what you did, you're going downstairs when you die.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he was really distraught about that, but he
Oh,
had a near-death experience and he never saw any of that. So he came back and he says, the preacher lied to me. He says he don't know anything about what's going on. So now he was totally positive. He was never afraid of dying anymore.
most people aren't after that
Yeah,
experience. You know what I was also thinking of though? Tulpas, right?
yeah.
That's the collection of belief and thought. And I'm going to take a story that came out. Somebody imagined Slender Man on a
Mm,
creepy pasta. People have been drawing it, people have been talking about it, really focusing words, thoughts, and emotions. And
yeah,
when we get a collection of energy, it can actually manifest into something. I'm not going to call it physical, but can see with your own eyes and take a form. Now people are getting videos, and I know that there's AI and things like that, but there are people telling their stories of actually having experiences with
yeah,
this being. Again, part of the simulation, part of the power of the thought, the words, and the mind, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
I am waiting for somebody that get abducted by extraterrestrials going on the ship. I'm waiting for those people to have their cell phone stuck in their pocket and turn the video recorder on.
How cool would that
I'm waiting for
be?
somebody to do
Wow.
that.
They probably make sure they don't come with their cell phones, the off-world people.
Uh, they probably wouldn't let him do it, but it would be worth trying.
But maybe disclosure is going to happen. And I know we won't have enough time to get into all of this, but I have a big question. I have two actually, and I've never, well, a few, but quite a few. There's two unsatisfactory answers. One is, if we're talking about the simulation, I've mentioned the puppet masters, for example. Why does everything have to be done by 2030? And the other one, and now it just popped out of my head. So 2030, come on, Laura, it was there. I'll call it. I always remember you tell yourself you got a great memory. You got a great memory. It's coming back. Now I remember, knew it would come back. Um, the Pope, and he used this language, the past Pope, not present. What did he open in the way of portals at the Vatican?
Yeah,
He called them portals. Mhm.
good question.
So did he open something in the way of, are we going to have disclosure? Are we actually going to be cognizant instead of some people believe, other people don't with off-worlders? Like, and the same thing, 2030, that's a date. Why is that date so important?
Yeah, yeah,
Did
that's
the
good.
puppet master, or if you will, I don't want to say the what, did they create that date? Is there a reason why? Is it powerful because people believe in it and they've set it as that goal, putting it into the future?
Mhm,
Some of the things we talked about. So
mhm.
many questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And the disclosure, it will happen before 2027 because NASA has announced that there is a large fleet of celestial bodies, they call it. They think it might be ships that is coming into the solar system, and they will arrive in the area of Earth in 2027.
I have not heard that till you
Yeah,
just
they
said
talked
Augie.
about that. And that might coincide, is probably a lie, because they might be planning their fake alien
That's
invasion.
what I was thinking. Oh, I hope not.
So we'll see.
Mhm.
But if you, what I saw is, but that there's going to be two spots of flying discs. The first one, you wake up one morning and the sky is full of ships. That is not our friends. That is the fake alien invasion. But the
That's scary.
second ones, the second fleet coming in to clean up, those are our friends.
Because that's what I always have thought. Even with my youngest son, he would have been 27 in March, but he was very much like, with no disrespect, a precocious child of the age of 5 to 8, but he could read and write and use the computer probably better than you and I and 100 other people. He was that quick with it. So he was always terrified about that because he would
Um,
hear about the Nibiru or whatever, right? So I always used to tell him two things. I used to say, and again, it made him feel better. So I would tell him NASA's always watching, space station. There's the Van Allen belt, and nobody, our friends, I would say, from other worlds are always watching. They're not going to let anything happen to our planet. And I do believe this because we're not just us, we are part of a whole solar system. And I'm being shown usually it would be, it's almost in the situation we're in now. It's like giving a machete matches to a 2-year old. And I'm
mhm.
not being disrespectful, but we are a young race. And eventually somebody's going to need to step in and say, hey, cut that crap out. You can't be doing that because even if you do it to yourself, and we mentioned this earlier, even many ideation or iterations of where we are now in the past, I believe that as well, that they will step in and say, no, you're not doing anything to this planet because it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm right on that or not, but
Well, it kind of makes sense because if
Mhm.
everything is connected, then it could
Yes,
happen that way.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
we know that extraterrestrials can interfere, and they do.
And they
Uh,
have, yeah.
yeah. There was this video coming out of Mexico. There was a rather large not asteroid, but a meteorite, I guess. It was about the size of a third of a car
Wow.
that came in and came in at an angle, and it was going the way the angle was going. It was going to hit the city of a large city down in Mexico.
Right.
I believe it was Mexico City,
Okay.
and it would have come and hit in the city. But
Wow.
right above there, it looked like several feet, 1,000 feet in the air, there was suddenly a light that showed up above the meteorite, and the meteorite stopped going down. It went straight ahead for a while, and then it went off into the country outside of the city and hit there.
Wow.
Yeah, this video is on the I've seen it on YouTube, but it's in several places.
No, I'm going to look for that one. I want to see
Yeah,
that. Absolutely.
that
Hmm.
was an extraterrestrial ship that above used something probably similar to a tractor beam and just locked the meteorite in that position and followed it outside of the city and let it drop.
See, and then I hope that that gives people comfort to hear that because, again, when
Yeah,
we get into that fear state, right, that fear-based thinking,
yeah.
you can't
And
think of anything else. Go ahead, Augie. Sorry.
Yeah, and if you think about that asteroid that is supposed to, some people say it's going to hit Earth in 2029.
Hmm.
No, it won't. And even if it were, there will be interference, so it won't.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about the future. The future is good, at least the one I've created for myself. So,
Operative words, the one you have created for yourself. So I keep feeling and hearing this from spirit that yeah, I believe we are in a simulation, but once you know what the, if you will, proverbial game is,
Yeah.
use it in a good, positive way to create what you want your life to look like. I believe that abundance we've been blessed with that when we agreed to come into this lifetime. And if you don't like where you are in life, stop, pause. A lot of people say, well, I don't know what I want. Well, then write down what you don't want and build
Yeah.
off of it what you do and focus on it. Pictures, words, emotions, right? And I'm
Mhm.
going to give you a very quick example quickly. My next door neighbor's car, she's in her last year of nursing, her nursing degree at the same university I went to. She's a single mom. She's amazing. And she'll be graduating next April or May. Her car just, it was done. She was hoping
Mhm.
to hold off until graduation. And I had completely forgotten about this discussion with her about 4 months ago. And I said to her, I'm going to put some good, and I jokingly called it juju
Yeah.
energy. I said to put some really good energy out there and help with the manifestation of your truck, and forgot about it.
Okay.
Guess who has a brand new truck? And reminded me that she said, don't you remember you had said you were going to put that manifestation energy out there? She said, well, now it's my turn to put it out for you. But that was the beauty in it, right? We focus the energy, put a beautiful emotion with it,
Yeah.
put it into the future, and let it be. Let it grow. Planted the seeds, and look what happened. We can all
Things,
do that.
yeah, it works, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It does work. And oh gosh, we're getting down towards the end here, but I think the last part of this show, tell people what you think is most important for them to know. Maybe in the area of the physicality is probably lesser important than our spiritual development. Talk to them about what you think they really need to know.
Well, especially with working on this course. So one of the things that you can do, okay, if you're open to, be open to the possibility that you're not always right. Be open to the possibility, if you can, to set something up that you're open to changing your mind, right? Just because you thought one way, that's okay. You can change if you're open to it. Also, anything is possible. But if you really want to shift and change your life, before you go to bed at night, lay your head on the pillow, go over the day. Don't focus on the bad, focus on the good, and say, thank you for blah, 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 whatever that may be. Thank you for this. Thank you for that, right? Also, what I like to do, and this, I'm in my room right now, this is my bed, but what I do, I had hurt my back. So sometimes I have some pain when I lay down and I almost have this physical reminder of, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm laying down on a cloud. And then I focus with my mind to imagine myself in a sphere of light. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's white. Sometimes, if I just don't know, I'll make it rainbow colored. And I set the intention because physically, our bodies regenerate and heal while we are sleeping. That's why we need sleep. I
Mhm.
focus on what I'd like to heal, even if I don't know, in a healing, wonderful bubble. And so that I wake up in the morning and I want to feel incredible. I set that intention. The other thing that we can do in our lifetime, again, wake up in the morning before your feet hit the earth. And I try to always say, try to walk the walk of the talk that I do. I have a bunch of books here. I have pens because I know the minute my feet hit the ground, I usually forget most of my dreams. Don't write myself a novel, but I'll tick down a few things about what my dreams are about.
Yeah.
Then I set my day up about how I want it to go. Positive, amazing. Be open to the possibility that if even if something's not going so great, that and I may not see the reason for it, but it will become apparent. There was a reason why things happen the way they do. But it's all about mindset. It's about inner healing, issues, traumas, things we carry from the past.
Yeah.
Working with people. I do this work, you guys do this work, so many people do, about healing it. And you can create the life that you want just by doing that inner healing, gratitude, service to others rather than service to self, love, coming from a place of love. So those are just a few things. There's many more things you can do, but
Yeah.
you can make your life what you want it to be. And even if you can't believe it, start with little baby steps. And every time you see a positive shift, mark that down, because you're going to start to notice as you grow and use those muscles and they evolve and change, you're going to see that, yeah, I am pretty powerful in a good, positive way, that I can shift and create the life I want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to support of that, I have a 7 foot tall guy that comes
Oh, right. Yes, I forgot about
he
them. Mm-hmm.
just shows up every so often. And one
Mm-hmm.
time he communicated to me that you create your reality.
You do.
Spend some time designing it the way you want it in your mind.
That was a message from my son. He came through. One of my co-host is an incredible medium. I never asked my friends for reading. Those were
Uh-huh.
almost word for word where he said, Mom, what do you want your space to look like? If it's this place where you live, great. Should
Yeah.
you want to move, me very clear and concise what you want it to look like.
Yeah.
So had you shared about your friend too? Because yeah, it's true.
Exactly. And that is half the equation. The
Mm-hmm.
other half is, who are you? You will not necessarily get what you want. You will get what you are according to that. If you
Sometimes
are,
what you need too. Sometimes
yeah,
what you need. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we create at the rate of our own vibration also. So we need to raise that as much as we can. We are doing that by doing good things and thinking things that
And you
benefit.
don't need to tell everybody on social media. I always tell people forgiveness, right? You don't have to forgive what someone did,
Right.
but you can certainly forgive the person. But also, when you do a random act of kindness for somebody, that's a gift to
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
But you don't need to tell the whole world about it so that everybody tells you how amazing you are. Just live in the moment and enjoy it and see the joy that you put on another person's face. It's
Yep. There you
incredible.
go. Tell
Mhm.
people how they get a hold of you again.
Okay, so you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/ The Angel Rock. I have two groups on Facebook: Paranormal University for all things paranormal, Angel Rocker Tribe for more things spiritual. I will be going to a domain name as soon as I get this course up and running, so it'll be easier. But you can find me on any social media platform under the name of Lorilei Potvin. Please tune in on UPRN. It's on YouTube. You can find it pretty easy under the Angel Rock or Lorilei Potvin. My show Monday nights, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, Auggie's coming Monday, August 6th. There's recordings of Aage also from the past shows on my YouTube channel. Some are under the video tab, some are under the live tab. And then tomorrow night, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, with my good friend and fellow co-host from UPRN, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. She also does Spirit Switchboard on Fridays at 6, and
Yep.
we have Beneath the Hollow Moon. So thank you for having me, Aage, and love to Nori. I love Nori. She's a friend too, and I adore both of
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. I wish you would be able to be here. This was so much fun.
It was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being
Thank
with us.
you.
And okay, in about a month or so, we're gonna do this again on your
We're
show.
going to do it again for
So,
2 hours.
all right. You take care now.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah. And for all of you watching out there, if you're watching us on YouTube, uh, subscribe. It'll help us a lot. And until next time, be good to each other.